You know what, folks? I'm pretty tired of the side that broke us blaming the side they broke for the system being broken. I'm pretty tired of the needs of a bunch of insecure men with anger issues being the demographic that all of us have to monitor for signs of civil war. I'm pretty tired of having to hold our breath until we know which party we can link to whoever the shooter was, like last time and the time before that, and so on. Those of us who care about vulnerable people brace ourselves just in case the bad guy turns out to be part of one of the marginalized communities the right wants most to blame for all their failings. I'm pretty tired of men who are unfit to lead, tossing little scraps of red meat to their guard dogs. Joe Biden is behind this. Antifa has infiltrated the MAGA world. The libs are coming for your guns. Blech. We live in a country where bad actors are excruciatingly obvious in their assholery, just making stuff up, picking out the lie that will get their reactionary flock out of the lazy boy to gather their tactical gear and wait for the call to arms, while visions of being relevant, maybe even heroic, dance in their heads. Meanwhile, the thinking world sees it for what it is. Lying loser leaders capitalizing on folks who've been stripped of their critical thinking or who never had any at all, in the name of assembling a capitulating mass who'll torch the system their leaders can't compete in. Yawn. These things are true. Before MAGA, we had differences, but we didn't have a cult. We had violence, but we didn't have white nationalism posing our greatest domestic threat. We had religious zealots, but they weren't controlling our wombs. We had misogyny, but it wasn't causing pregnant people to lose their fertility, their organs, or potentially even their lives just for being pregnant. We had children on spectrums of gender and sexuality, but we didn't have grown-ups kicking them off the face of the earth. We had racism and bigotry, but we didn't have leaders saying the quiet part out loud. We had mediocre men who couldn't compete, but we didn't let their impotence threaten to flip the monopoly board. We had felons and predators, but not in the presidency. We had insidious Supreme Court justices, but we didn't have a cabal gunning to erase precedent and restructure all of government. We had conservative extremists, but we didn't have them calling for a second revolution that would be bloodless unless the side that stands to lose everything rolls over and takes it like a champ. These things are true too. MAGA is full of shit. Trans kids aren't bothering them. They didn't know what DEI was and probably still don't. They don't think librarians are pushing porn. They have no idea what's in the library. They don't care about curriculum. They don't think the COVID vaccine killed more people than it saved. They don't think women are using abortion as birth control or unaliving babies after birth. They don't give a rat's ass about trans people in sports. They don't think Joe Biden is senile or running a crime family. They don't even think Trump is innocent. So many of the stupid issues MAGA crows about are crowed about because they're just following directions. I would venture a guess that almost none of the things they focus on would have ever occurred to them until Fox News served them up with a little leg and some good old performative outrage. These people don't really hate liberals. They love having an opponent they think they can conquer. The fundamental premise of the MAGA movement is that Dems are weak, wussy, and soft. Fox had to paint them that way, or MAGA wouldn't get out of bed. They're not brave, they're lonely. Dems had to be made out to be demons, or nobody on the right would show up at the fight. They had to paint us as easy targets so all shapes and sizes of MAGA voters would believe they too could score a win. It all springs back to men with power who fear losing power, following a playbook that doesn't require dignity, talent, or intellect to come out on top. Again, yawn. So let's not lose sight of what's really playing out here. The right has been mobilized by pretend grievances, and even though they have the time and space to develop these fantasies into seemingly insurmountable affronts on life as we know it, it's all still pretend. Meanwhile, the left's handle on truth, dignity, and humanity is very real. We don't need for the system to be corrupted in order to compete. What's in store for us will be awful, but not profound, and definitely not invincible. It's all based on make-believe. And as such, its believability is finite. If the right could win by merit, they wouldn't have to resort to shenanigans. By virtue of being bullshit, theirs is a losing battle. So liberals, keep your chin up, because eventually the schneedles in the cult are going to end up back in their lazy boys, and we won't have to make space for their assholery anymore. Yeah. Well, MAGA, have the day you deserve.